Tell me, though, what's his technique? That last strike, it seems invincible.
Hello and welcome to Sons of the Dragon, the Immortal Iron Fist podcast. My name's Connor McKenna.
I'm Karl Stout.
And we are joined by special guest Emma.
Thank you, it's great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. So, for those of you that don't know, Emma runs a Daredevil Tumblr and an Iron Fist Tumblr. They're both pretty cool. I don't use Tumblr, but I do hop on there, only check those blogs out, really, so...
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. It's cool just seeing random Iron Fist stuff without having to deal with, the current state of things. Yeah.
Speaking of which...
Yes, so just to get it out of the way, so Swordmaster's basically confirmed to be the new Iron Fist. I'm not sure if you knew this, Emma.
I didn't.
They had a...
I mean, I heard the rumors, obviously.
Yeah.
But I have not read any Swordmaster. Does he have any connection to Kunlun? I mean...
Of course not. That would make sense.
Yeah, so... Where was it again, Karl? It was in... His sword broke or something?
I think all that's going down currently in the death of Doctor Strange stuff that's happening.
Yeah. I mean, so I guess he was the most likely option. We all sort of figured that. But at the same time, it's just... Again, it's why not pay... Why not Victor Alvarez?
Right.
Miranda... Anyone? Joy. Yeah. At least it's not Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi, I guess. But, whatever. I mean, before we started recording, I was thinking today, I was getting angry about Iron Fist again, and I was going to say stuff on the podcast, but then I realized I'd said all this stuff, 2 or 3 times, so...
Yeah, I'm really just reserving judgment until the issues come out and I'm forced to deal with it directly.
Yeah.
And just whatever happens will happen, and if I hate it, we have some wonderful Iron Fist pack issues that I will just read.
Yeah.
And not think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mentioned before the show, even reading back issues would depress me.
I mean, yeah.
But, whatever. Change is the only constant. That's the saying. I just wish it was good change. So, what about you, Karl? Anything to add to the coffin?
Just praying that all the new stuff tanks so hard they revert back to what it was.
Yeah, it's... Yeah, I don't know. I'll make my blood sacrifices, I guess.
The good news is they're still putting out Marvel product that he's appearing on.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, as I said, I'm a bit more optimistic after that interview where they, talked about Danny as if he was a character and stuff. So, yeah. But anyway, I'll tell you, yes. So, how did you get into Iron Fist? What's your story?
Well, it's not a very interesting story. I got into superhero comics fairly late, around 2012-ish.
Okay.
I'd always loved superheroes, but I'd never really gotten into comics before then. And I was, at that point, just reading everything, and looking for, best of lists and recommendation lists, and I saw Immortal Iron Fist on one of those lists, and I got my hands on it, and I read it, and it was my first exposure to Iron Fist and I immediately fell in love with Danny and with the world building and the characters and the concept. And so I immediately put Iron Fist at the top of my must-read list and read everything else, and I've been reading it ever since.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Iron Fist run or story?
Ooh, well, I think Immortal is still my favorite.
Right.
I really, really like, there are sections of Danny's introductory story arc. His revenge quest is fascinating to me. I love that. Yeah. I love the first Power Man and Iron Fist run. And I really loved Ed Brisson's run. The more time goes on, I miss it more and more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's one of the things I really love about Iron Fist is that there are so many people have taken a crack at him. I mean, for better or worse, he's had many very short runs, which means a lot of different creators playing around with him. So there's a great variety to the stories.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a lot of favorites.
Yeah, I think, like, in terms of the scale to how many stories Iron Fist has had as to the quality, I think there's a lot more good Iron Fist than there is bad Iron Fist.
Yeah, definitely.
In fact, like, Immortal Iron Fist and onwards, aside from Heart of the Dragon, like, everything's been good. You know, even that, what was that, that new Power Man and Iron Fist run? Like, that, it wasn't great, but it was enjoyable.
Oh, I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah. I mean, it brought back, like, was it Fish Face? Or,
I love how we used D-level villains. Yeah.
I just can't stand Senor Magico. But,
oh, really?
Interesting. He's so dumb. What? Like, Karl, #1 Senor Magico fan. I can't take him seriously.
He gets his own series.
Does he?
Who do you think's taking over for Doctor Strange while he gets killed when he dies?
You know, I'd actually read the crap out of that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
They just had him interacting with, like, the Avengers and stuff.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
That would be great.
Instead of the Sanctum, he's got a taco truck.
No, good stuff. Brisson's run, it's sorely missed at this point, which I've harped on about on Twitter and here like a million times, so I won't do it again. But we may have a guest in the future. Not Ed Brisson, not to get anyone's hopes up. I've tried. But so that'll be exciting. Anyway, speaking of good runs, or fun runs, or both, Heroes for Hire 4 and 5 is what brings us here today. And, actually, I did forget, they announced the 4th and final Epic Collection for Power Man and Iron Fist.
Awesome.
So, that'll complete the whole run, which is really awesome. I think, will it be the first time the whole run's been completed in trades?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the Essentials did. I think there was only 1 or 2. But yeah, that's pretty exciting news. So I'll be getting that, even though the 4th volume is like the run I hate out of the various writers, which is weird because I really like Owsley / Priest most of the time, but I didn't like his stuff on Power Man and Iron Fist. So, but I'm sure everyone else is looking forward to it. I think
it'll be nice to at least have it.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'll be getting it.
Accessible form. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll just, when Iron Fist gets the red costume, I'll just be like, hey, it's Plant Iron Fist.
There you go.
And whenever someone's like, Iron Fist does this on the podcast, I'm like, no, it's Plant Iron Fist, not real Iron Fist. And that'll really annoy Rebecca, I think, if I can predict it. So here's Hire 4. Let's get some credit. So the cover for Heroes for Hire 4 is bar none one of the most misleading covers I've ever seen. And that's impressive because this isn't in the 60s or the 70s. So...
And you don't punch like that.
No.
Who, Luke?
Oh,
or Danny?
Danny's left hand.
Yeah, no, he's just in a fighting stance, but it looks like he's about to punch Geez, look at the muscles of Daddy. He's like a sponge. Like, I don't know, one of those lumpy sponges. Like, it's... Anyway. So the cover is like Iron Fist versus Power Man, and it has the controller in the back. And...
Technically, he's holding them.
Is he? You know what?
Those are his fingers.
I'm going to have to eat my foot now, because I just remember this does happen in the issue, so... Yeah, great. That's awesome.
I think Danny's screaming at him about hand puppets.
I think the fact that you don't remember that it happens in the issue means it's still kind of a misleading cover. I think it's not like it's the central point of the story or anything.
Maybe that's just damning of the issue itself, which I don't think is bad. But I'm remembering, because spoilers to the future, mind-controlled Danny fights Luke Cage. You think that would be something I'd remember, but it wasn't. So, alright. But yeah, so the cover has that, and I'll get the credits up if Karl or Emma want to share more thoughts about the Fantabulous cover.
Yeah, I mean, it's not my favorite cover of the series.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird anatomy stuff going on with it, as mentioned. I mean, on some level, I think that any cover that has Luke and Danny on it is a good cover. But, yeah, it's not my favorite.
Frank Miller, Heroes So High, the Power Man Iron Fist covers.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Possibly.
Alright, Karl, anything else to point out that you've noticed? Alright, I think Karl's on his home planet at the moment. So, writer is John Ostrander, penciler is Pascal Ferry, inker is Jaime Mendoza, colorist is Joe Rosas, letterer is John Babcock, and editor is Mark Bernardo. So... yeah, and the title of the story is... well, on the cover it's As the Controller Commands, and then inside it's Controlled. So, we open up in the middle of a fight. There's a... yeah, Manhattan. Actually, have you been to New York at all, Emma?
I have, yes.
Yeah.
So I did not need the note on the Intrepid.
Interesting.
Yeah. I was going to mention I one thing I do enjoy in this series, and this is obviously not unique to this series. It's but the narrator kind of directly interacting with the reader. You know, where have you been? We had to start without you.
Yeah.
That always makes me laugh. But yes, I have been to New York, so the Intrepid doesn't look quite like this, but you know, you get the idea.
So we got a bit of carnage going on. Black Knight. I mean, they're all fighting someone. Luke Cage is fighting... I don't remember these guys' names. Orca, like a big shark person. Black Knight is fighting Killer Shrike, who has titanium talons, the power of flight, and the ability to discharge bouts of up to 35,000 volts into your skull. And then we have the White Tiger versus Whiplash. The kitten with the electrified whip that can gouge a steel plate off this ship. Oh my. And then Iron Fist is fighting Shockwave, the martial arts master with the powered suit able to send thousands of volts into you with a single blow. And then, Orca is just a renegade Atlantean, short on brains but big on muscles. So they're all fighting. To be honest, like, if you guys want to say anything about this fight, you should do so, because I don't really have anything to say about it, except for some White Tiger stuff.
They do a nice job of summarizing what everyone's powers are and showing you what they can do and reminding you, hey, this is what Black Knight's sword does, and it's a very expository fight in that way.
That's very true, actually, because I didn't know who any of these characters were, and I got all the information I needed.
Right.
Which is not always the case when things like this happen, so... yeah. But White Tiger is a tiger. Well, actually, no, that comes later. Right, I jumped ahead a bit. But I will be talking about that. But let's see. So Daddy beats his opponent. White Tiger beats her opponent, and she freaks out because she turns into a tiger. They all win, and we have Misty. I'm sure Rebecca's upset that she's missing for Misty.
I like Misty's look here. I like the really short hair.
Yeah, was she around much during this era? Does anyone know, or is this like a rare appearance?
I'm not sure. She made a brief appearance in Daredevil around this time.
Right.
But apart from that, I don't know what her general presence was.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even remember that, actually. I like her new look as well. It's more modern, I guess. It's just kind of like a modernization of her classic look in Power Man and Iron Fist.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and they're, on again, off again, her and Danny.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, how about dinner? Then she kisses him on the forehead and goes, maybe not tonight. Yeah, because everyone's gone, everyone's busy, so, yeah. And then Luke's all weird, with his, like, white eyes. That's one fine woman, Danny. Sometimes, bro, I think that if you weren't going with her, or if we weren't such good friends, it's like, man, no one wants to hear that. Just keep it to yourself, man. Jeez. Hey, man, I really like your wife. If she wasn't your wife and we weren't such good friends, it's like, who says that? No one. And Danny's all angsty about, like, I wonder if we're going out or not. It's the classic Misty Danny staple, is there's always angst.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but we get back to our favourites, the UFOs. Yeah, that's right, UFO fan club. They're still here. And the controller's in a jar. And he's being controlled by the master. Is he the master of the world? Yeah, so he wants all the UFOs to essentially take a dive, like get arrested. And they're like, no, we're not going to do that. Why would we do that? And they're back and forth, they're arguing with each other, and then he's like, the master, he's like, all right, fine, you don't have to, but we will have the controller get arrested. And the UFOs are essentially like, if you try to stop us or try to make us get arrested, we'll spill the beans. We know everything, and we know about your mole. And here is the hire, which is Luke, who seems to actually be a mole, which is surprising unless he's playing some long con, which I don't know. He might be. But yeah, anyone have anything to say about that sequence?
It's not super. I'm not super compelled by the UFOs, but it is always nice when you have this kind of multi-level villainry going on to see a little bit of drama and tension between them.
Yeah.
And I mean, we know how this is going to turn out, because clearly the Master is the big bad of this current story arc. But it's nice to it gives the UFOs a little more personality to have them trying to blackmail this person who's clearly far more powerful than they are.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything, Karl, to add? Or... Yeah. So then
what happens next is more important.
Yeah. I
only say that because of what recently came out in the movie theater.
That's true. Yeah. We gotta get those clicks, man. Hashtag Eternals. Have you seen it? So yeah, we get. So this was a bit weird.
My kid's favorite character is the valet cameraman.
So this is weird.
Have you seen it yet, Connor?
No, I don't plan to. I mean, I got recently actually. I got a free ticket for buying a bunch of books. I don't know how it works, but I had to redeem it in like 48 hours. So I had to choose between the Eternals, Last Night in Soho, and Cry Macho. And I chose Cry Macho because I had Clint Eastwood and it wasn't 2 hours and a half. because like I'm down for long movies, but I have to want to see the movie, you know. So if I find Eternals like very mildly interesting, but not interesting enough to sort of step to us even with a free ticket. Like I'm hugely into mythology, like especially Greek mythology, but I also love stuff like Gilgamesh and stuff, which is sort of what the Eternals are based off. They're like these Marvel budget versions of them. And I was kind of interested for that thing, but I don't know. And reading this, it's still like, you know, they don't. I'm not really feeling them. I like Marvel's Hercules, like how they use the actual mythological figure and not just, you know, no offense, Jack Kirby, but yeah. So this whole thing, it feels like, so we get like a Black Knight dream sequence where he's with Cersei, who's one of the Eternals and was, you know, inspired Homer to put the character Cersei in the Odyssey and stuff, which doesn't make any sense because the Iliad and the Odyssey are actually in Marvel canon. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, so he got separated from her. They were lovers, I suppose. They were joined with like a spiritual link. And all this stuff happened before this run. They got separated and she's flying through space or something weird. And so this feels like this is wrapping up a story arc that otherwise would not have gotten to be wrapped up. You know, I don't know about you guys. I haven't read the stuff that's before this with Black Knight, so
No, neither have I. But I think they do a pretty good job of summarizing it in a way that's not too. You know, I was fairly interested to get this summary and to follow the story anyway.
Yeah, no, I followed along, and you know, in comics these days they might not even bother doing that, but for this it's like, yeah,
right.
Okay, they've given us these few pages, I'm all caught up on what I need to know. Now we're moving on to this sort of story arc. But yeah.
All right, to answer your question on Misty Knight.
Yep.
With her appearances, she was not in a lot at that time.
Yeah.
Before this issue, she was in issues 363 and 364 of Daredevil. Mm-hmm. 1 year earlier. That same year, she was in the 2-issue miniseries for Iron Fist.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man Unlimited in 1993. And then again, 356 and 357 of Daredevil. Oh, and 353.
Mm-hmm.
And then it jumps all the way to 155 of Marvel Comics Presents.
Wow.
Huh.
So she was on the thin side of appearances in this era.
I didn't realize that Daredevil was her main appearance. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if Danny's in those issues. I don't think he is.
He's not.
Yeah.
He appears briefly in Chichester's Daredevil run.
Oh, shout out to the Devil You Know podcast with Phil and Lilith. They interview DG Chichester, sorry. I think once a month he hops on there, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Her appearances before all this were in Namor by Byrne.
Oh, yeah.
Random issues of Marvel Comics Presents, which were all, you know, short stories.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, she kept popping up in Deathlock.
Huh. Interesting.
In the early 90s.
The old Byrne Namor for, you know, the Iron Fist stuff. Which I didn't mind it, to be honest. Make fun of it a lot, but... yeah, so apparently the events or some of the events that the Black Knight's talking about with Cersei and the Vortex, and apparently Jim Hammond was there as well, was in the one-shot Black Knight Exodus. So their bond is broken now, otherwise he'd be able to feel her wherever she was. And he's like, I don't know if this place is imaginary, or I'm still in there, or whatever. There's all this sort of stuff, and then we get Giant Danny, who's located the whereabouts of the controller and the UFOs. So, I mean, we should talk about the art. I mean, we haven't mentioned it, but it's just the same art that we've been getting for, like, it's still good.
Yeah, I don't mind this art. I kind of there's some weird panels, but mostly I kind of like this art.
Yeah, Misty looked really good.
I don't hate it.
It's no thumb cage. So
it's still early in the run.
So they go off to confront the UFOs, and they're walking right into a trap, which everyone is kind of like, hey, aren't we walking into a trap? We're not being very stealthy. And the UFOs pop out. It is a trap, and the controller's front and center. He's being controlled by the Master, obviously, but they don't know that. I like how this UFO was like, you know, you act like a street tough guy, but you swear like a wuss. Sweet Christmas. You know.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. You know, Luke's like, you know, my grandmother didn't like me to swear, and she's meaner than you, and they start fighting. White Tiger fights the Mist person. Black Knight's fighting the energy person, so he can redirect energy at people, but he redirects energy back at Black Knight. You know, usually I'm more thorough with this stuff, but this issue is just a bit of a jumble for me, to be honest. I wasn't super invested in a lot of this, so I might be missing some things, but Luke knocks out his opponent, and then he gets hit in the side of the head and dazed by Danny. And I don't think he's using the Iron Fist either, because it's not lit up, so... but Danny has had a controller disc slipped on him, so he's under the control of the controller. And, you know, Luke's like, you know, I figured you're acting weird, letting us into this trap. And Danny has had this disc on him since the morning. So Luke and Danny start fighting. Danny's eyes are red. And
technically, shouldn't his outfit be red?
I don't know.
That's only when he's a plant.
Yeah, that's Plant Danny.
No, they brought it up later that, like, if he, like...
Oh, the Black Panther stuff?
Yeah, where his suit just turned red because some poo went down.
That's dumb. Unless it's, like, symbiote Danny, I don't know. But his eyes are only red for one panel. So... but Luke's like, you know, Daddy, you're sluggish, and you haven't even connected yet, so, you know, you must be fighting him. And Luke's like, you gotta resist it, because if I have to fight you, I may wind up killing you, and everyone else keeps fighting. There's some decent fights. It hasn't struck me as good as the fights that we've seen before this issue.
Maybe Tiger looks like Hit Monkey.
Oh, I forgot Hitmonkey was the thing. That's so dumb. Detective Chimp
Apparently
is awesome.
It's a show on Hulu.
Really?
Yeah. Fat Cobra is in it.
You're kidding
I haven't watched it yet, but he was in one of the trailers.
What? When did this happen?
That's pretty recent. I haven't watched any of it yet either.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, the more you know.
Watch it just for Fat Cobra.
So I do have to ask this because apparently you're both Daredevil fans. Why, I don't know. But anyways.
Wow.
Are you watching Hawkeye on Disney?
I'm going to. I haven't yet.
Oh, well, then I guess I can't ask you how your feelings on them stealing a Daredevil villain.
I mean, I don't watch it, but I have feelings and everything, so...
Yeah. Well, you're angry about everything.
Not everything, just everything Iron Fist. So, I mean, I'm not watching Hawkeye. I don't really plan to, but I mean,
Well, you better.
I mean, it's just the Netflix shows. Like, Jessica Jones, used the Daredevil villain. And I know he was her villain in the comics as well, but again, it's still Daredevil villain. And Iron Fist lifted one as well with Typhoid Mary and the Hand. So the only one who didn't lift from Daredevil was Luke Cage. And I think my thoughts around...
It's kind of hard to be a martial artist in the Marvel Universe and not confront the Hand. It's going to happen.
That's true, but, they made the Hand Iron Fist's arch nemesis, essentially. So it's a bit different coming across them.
Yeah, I don't mind when they trade villains around. I feel like, not knowing who the villain is, I can't completely speak to it, but you have all these superheroes in New York City. They're all going to run into each other's villains. It's not. I
have no issue telling you who the villain is.
Okay, I have no issue being spoiled.
It's not really going to ruin anything.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Echo.
Yeah, that's exactly who we're talking about.
Oh, she's not a villain though, is she?
Not really. I mean, unless they steal her entire introductory arc.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, where she fights Black Widow and Daredevil.
Oh, yeah. That's not her origin any longer. I was actually going to ask you guys, because I just know the name and what she looked like. Does she have an artificial leg in the comic book?
No,
I don't think so.
All right, so they definitely have tweaked her origin.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of find the whole thing funny because before Bullseye, Daredevil had, the shittiest villains in Marvel.
Paper Cut Man.
I mean, sorry, Emma, I know you're a big Mask Marauder fan. I'm kidding.
That's okay.
But,
how dare you?
His villains are generally, the laughing stock of Marvel, and
Man was shit.
That everyone is now using Daredevil villains, which is funny. And then the villain in Daredevil's show is a Spider-Man villain. So it's all crazy. I mean, there's Spider-Man Kingpin and there's Daredevil Kingpin. They're kind of different, but I'm not really mad because it's already happened heaps. So
also there is an in comics connection between Hawkeye and Echo. So It's not like they're throwing two random characters together. There's still it makes a lot of sense for her to be there.
Yeah. I will say, these villains like Typhoid Mary and stuff that they're using in other shows, they're always more interesting with their original nemesis, Daredevil.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess Purple Man's debatable. But, everyone else, the Hand and stuff, I think... And to be honest, for me, I like Purple Man with Daredevil better than Jessica Jones, but I'm not as big of a Jessica Jones fan, so plus Jessica Jones and Purple Man is so different in terms of dynamic and story to Daredevil and Purple Man. It's about completely different things. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Also, Stiltman's awesome, Karl. Shut up.
Yeah, how dare you?
He's better than Scythe.
Well, isn't it Stilt Woman now?
Is it?
It's Lady Stiltman.
What?
Lady Stiltman, yeah.
Stiltman?
That's the joke.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
Right.
Didn't she actually appeared in, She-Hulk or something, right?
I think so.
I remember
she has appeared a few random places.
I'm pretty sure the Punisher killed Stiltman at one point.
Technically, the Punisher killed everybody at one point in time with his oddball offshoots where he kills the entire Marvel universe and whatnot.
No, but I think this is actually in canon. There was I think it was around the time of Civil War, there was a bar of really shitty villains that got together. And then it turned out the Punisher was the bartender. And he kills everyone in the bar at the end. And they're all these C-list villains, and I think Stiltman was the big one there. So that was pretty funny. Alright, back to the less interesting issue that we're talking about. So they beat... so White Tiger frees Danny because she takes out the disc. Luke's eyes are still white and freaking me out. And
I do I will say, I always kind of enjoy... the idea of a mind control person fighting someone that they're close to
Yeah.
there's always some appeal to that. This reminded me, it's not as good, but it reminded me a bit of that Thunderbolts issue where Norman Osborn brainwashes Danny and he goes to fight Luke, and he has to fight the mind control.
Yeah.
And I like the acknowledgement here that Danny is fighting the mind control, because that is something he can do. You know, he's not easy to completely control in that way because of his powers.
Yeah.
So I like that little reference to Danny. You're not, you know, you're sluggish. You're not fully committing to this.
Yeah. And he'd have like a lot of mental discipline from his training as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is actually reminds me of when there was that team up issue with Daredevil, Spider-Man, Power Man, and Iron Fist. And Purple Man couldn't control Daredevil, but he could control Spider-Man. And I felt bad for Spider-Man. I'm like, oh man. But yeah, there was also in the Phantom Limb, which is no secret, is one of my favorite Iron Fist stories. Didn't Danny fight a possessed Luke, or vice versa?
Yes, he did.
And then the classic Exorcism Fist in Shadowland.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. And I'm
Love
like,
that.
I remember there was like a new Daredevil event, and I'm like, oh, is Iron Fist going to be in it? No? Alright, I'm out. You know.
Yeah.
Well, oh yeah, listeners, I haven't read Daredevil in a while since Mark Waid's run, which was great.
Yes.
I'm not into the whole Netflix synergy thing they did with him.
Me neither. That's one of the main things that bothers me about the current run.
Yeah.
It's just that's not a Daredevil I'm interested in reading, really.
Yeah. Part of why I love Daredevil is how he has such a history. Like, he has an actual progressive history. There's no reboots in his story, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, when someone finds out who he is, it sticks. But then they, one more dayed that crap, and now it's like Black Widow doesn't know who he is, which makes no sense, because all the events still happened. So that means Black Widow was cheating with Matt Murdock on Daredevil, and vice versa. It's crazy. I hate it.
It really doesn't. Well, really, not to get into this.
We're already
what
in
really
there.
doesn't make sense is Elektra.
Too late.
She was dating Matt before before Daredevil existed.
Wait, did she forget too? Oh.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That makes less sense. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. It's very
Isn't she
bizarre.
Lady Daredevil now or something?
Well, she's Daredevil right now. Yeah, that I don't mind. I think that's kind of cool.
I don't.
But
is
I don't
like
like the current run in general.
Yeah. Moving on to more Daredevil talk, because it drives Karl batty. Like, is Daredevil really?
Which means I can drink more coffee.
That's true. But Daredevil's not like a legacy. It's not like Iron Fist or Iron Man. So does he need a replacement if he has to? Like, with Iron Fist, it made sense because that was during Civil War. He needed to make it look like he was out there.
So what happens is that Matt goes to jail as Daredevil. Not as Matt, as Daredevil. They let him keep a mask on.
Right.
And Elektra decides we still need a Daredevil out here. So she becomes kind of an alternate Daredevil.
So in this city full of...
So that's why. She's not
Who's
really...
writing this turkey?
This is Chip Zdarsky.
So Chip is just rehashing old Batman storylines?
Yeah.
Where Batman went away and the city needed to have a Batman, so someone else stepped forward.
Well, he's also rehashing old Daredevil storylines as well.
Yeah, he's doing all sorts of weird... I mean, again, I think Elektra I love Elektra, and I'm happy to read her doing anything. But yeah, Zdarsky's run, he's just it's not for me, and he's making a lot of decisions I don't agree with.
Wasn't Danny literally dressing up as Daredevil when Daredevil was in prison for the Devil in Cell Block D?
Yes.
So it's just the same thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, look, I'm going to write Chip Zdarsky an angry letter. I'm not, I'm kidding. I've got my letter box set. I mean, my angry letters set. So, moving away from Daredevil, the UFOs are like, haha, now we're going to escape and leave the controller behind. And then, zap, the Master, quadruple stabs him in the back, or whatever. Quadruple
He
cross
rigged their
them.
teleportation discs.
Yes, they're all comatose now.
I think it's interesting that the gas girl turns into Sue Storm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting that he, doesn't just kill them. Instead of rendering them comatose, but I guess the UFOs fan club, headed by Ray, would be really upset if that happened, so... Yeah, you can't kill them off. But that's that. And he notes that when the controller wakes up, he won't be under the Master's control anymore, or Masterminds, whatever his name is. But, yeah, they'll be in a coma for a while. And we get back to base. And, Danny's like, I was aware of everything, I couldn't control it. And then the alarm goes off.
I like Luke saying, that just sounds like life to me.
Yeah.
Sounds like marriage.
Whoa. Karl is currently married, for anyone wondering. But yeah. And so Cersei, from the Eternals, she comes back and she's like, Dane, thank the heavens, it's Celestials by Olympia, the Celestials. And then she's like, bring me Dane Whitman or I'll turn you all into toads. And then Dane goes up and she collapses. Which brings us to the next issue. Is that Tiger thing in the next issue? It must be.
Mm-hmm.
So, thoughts on this issue?
It's an okay issue. There are some cool Danny moments. I love Misty appearing for a page.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not super memorable.
Yeah, for me it's the weakest issue so far. But I understand if you're doing a 18 issue run, not every issue is going to be a banger because you got to do setup and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Any thoughts, Karl? Yeah. That being said,
it is what it is. It's literally set up for this next stuff. So
yeah.
Sometimes you got to stinker.
Yeah. I mean, it has Luke fighting Danny, and that manages to not be exciting.
Yeah, really.
Alright, on to issue 5. It's like if John Ostrander was listening and weeping right now, but I'm sorry. Okay. Oh yeah, there was letters pages at the back of each issue. So the letters page at the back of issue 4 talked about how they didn't have one at the back of issue 3 because they needed the page for their splash page or whatever. But a lot of the letters can be summed up as man, we really love Danny, or we really love Danny and Luke, and we're glad they're kicking around. Did you hear that, Marvel? People like Danny Rand. Yeah, interesting. Anyway, Heroes for Hire issue 5. Broken Bonds, part 1 of 2. So, on the cover we have...
I do have to ask you a silly question, Connor.
Alright.
How disappointed will you be?
Uh-oh.
Because they're introducing Swordmaster, who is currently in the death of Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Is becoming the Iron Fist. Now, obviously something's happening to Doctor Strange. How disappointed will you be if Danny steps into that role?
What, as Doctor Strange?
Yes, because as you remember, when he was in the white suit, wasn't he overpowered with the eye, and then actually got the title of so-and-so's mantle on Earth?
They didn't really do anything, though. That was... I read that.
Right.
It never really felt...
But if Doctor Strange is currently going to be going away for a while, they could very well pick that up.
I don't know. Danny never... it never felt like to me there was any remote set up for Danny being in any role like that. So it would be surprising to me. I would be disappointed because Danny's a martial arts character, and, but at the same time, it would mean Danny's he has a prominent role, which would be good. But like, yeah, I really don't think it'll happen. So yeah, I don't know. Emma, does this have any credence to you or?
Yeah, I would be really surprised. I mean, I would absolutely read that. That would be really interesting. But
Right.
yeah, I would be shocked if they brought that back.
Yeah. Yeah. I want Danny to become I don't know, some insert stupid joke because I want to move on.
He likes dressing as Daredevil.
Yeah, no, make him the next Daredevil and make Daredevil the next, I don't know, maybe Daredevil will just become a lawyer. Who knows?
There we go.
But Broken Bonds Part 1 and 2, so there's a bit of mayhem on this cover. We have Iron Fist, Black Knight, just fighting a bunch of people. I don't really know who these dudes are.
Green dudes.
Yeah, there's not Skrulls there. Some guy with like a cow prod. Cattle prod.
They're the Proles. It's like 2 planets over to the left.
Right. Yeah. So, and we have Marvel Comics. We have our current roster up on the top left. We have Iron Fist, Black Knight, Luke Cage, and White Tiger. You know, we haven't really seen the team dynamic in play yet, now that Luke's in the team. They didn't really do anything last issue. You compare it to... They had a lot of focus with team dynamic when Hercules was there. Obviously because he was a bit of a rough customer, but... I don't know, there was just a focus on team dynamic, and then when Luke came in, there wasn't really that focus, but I think it gets more into that this issue, maybe, so... Yeah, it was just more focused on them fighting the UFOs and the Black Knight's backstory, whereas, I'm interested in these crazy cats all working together, so... the cover's a mess, to be honest, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a little hard to tell what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's busy.
Yeah, I mean, Black Knight could be attacking Danny for all you know, so...
It's a good Danny pose.
It is. Yeah, he's got his fist chambered, he's done a strike with his other fist. It's a better pose. I mean, the last issue was a good pose as well. Oh, Karl, how'd you not notice? Look at Danny's foot.
I tried not to.
He's like Mr. Fantastic.
Makes me want bananas.
How do you... I mean, I'm not an artist, but how do you do that by accident? I don't understand. But yeah, Danny's got a banana foot.
That's very Leafield-esque.
Yeah, it was the hip style at the time.
But
poorly draw the feet.
Were his feet misshapen and non-human?
Yes.
Oh my god, there's entire web pages dedicated to the anatomy butchering that Leafield has done throughout his career.
I mean, you Google Rob Liefeld, and the first suggestion is Rob Liefeld Captain America. So...
was that wonderful chest shot?
Yes. Classic.
To be fair, I think Rob Liefeld actually talks about it, though. I think he actually has fun, talking about it, so I'm not 100% sure, but
they were just churning out as many pages as they possibly could back then. I mean,
yeah,
there's still rumors to this day that hold up that Jim Lee wasn't drawing 90% of the work that his name was on.
Really?
Well, yeah, I've heard that about Liefeld too. That he was just doing the characters, and the inkers would do the background and most of the rest of it. Yeah, I've heard that, certainly.
Huh.
At the time when a comic artist became hot, the comic companies would get all these submissions from artists drawing like the hottest comic book artists. So they would mimic the style. And the rumor was that Jim Lee hired 8 of these guys who could draw exactly like him. from copying his work.
Right.
And he would get these deals to do these books, and he would just sit down and he'd like rough sketch all the issues and hand them to his crew. And the crew would just
polish it off.
Yeah, the crew would do all the finishing art. So he basically he did layout.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, at least he paid them,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, moving on to the first panel, we have a nurse with white eyes. Although she turns out she's Jane Foster, who we know as the love interest of Thor, and also was Thor for a bit.
Did she pass away?
I don't know. I mean,
she was dying from cancer, and her being Thor is what stopped.
Yeah.
She's not Thor anymore, right?
I don't think
honestly
so.
don't know.
I mean, she's about to be
I don't-
Thor in the movies, I think, so maybe they'll, do their old MCU synergy and make her Thor again. But who knows? So we have Cersei is like unconscious on this table, like it's a bunch of medical equipment, and Dane's standing over her, they're sort of examining her. We're getting a bit of a recap.
Danny.
Did I say Danny?
Sounded like it to me.
Alright, well now, look, I'm going to get a second opinion on this. Emma, did I say Dane or Danny?
I think you did say Dane, but I could see hearing Danny.
I see what it is. Everyone just hates Australians, so...
Why do you know any?
Wow. So, we get another...
You weren't born there.
What? Yes, I
Told
was.
me you were born in Ireland.
No, my dad was born in Ireland.
Ah.
I have an Irish citizenship, though.
I thought you started off your life there and then moved to Australia.
No.
Because your parents hated you so much, they're like, let's bring this little bastard to someplace where everything can kill you.
Wow, alright. No, it wasn't like that. Wasn't like that at all. So, your backstory of me is completely changed now.
What's more interesting?
Well, you don't know, mate. Maybe I came from an egg or something. Yeah, that'd still be interesting, right? So,
An angry egg.
we get it. I really like this page. It's a bit wonky, sure, but whereas him and the Avengers, although I literally only recognize Vision, Black Knight, and Hercules. I don't know who the other two are.
Well, obviously one is Cersei.
Really?
I would think it's the one over his left shoulder.
Oh,
I think so, yeah.
it's just drawn weird, okay?
And isn't the other one behind his fist like Crystal or whatever because of the black band in her hair?
Yeah. Yeah, it does look like Crystal. There's a lot of, well, that's the thing, there's a lot of emphasis on her. But
Yeah, I don't
not
know why
Cersei.
she's so huge in that picture.
So I thought the emphasis would be on Cersei if she was there. Plus, we haven't really seen Cersei in that costume unless we have. I don't know, but I like Hercules. That's what I'm there for. Come back. But yeah, we get a recap of how this whole shebang happened in the Immortal Avengers 375. Thanks, Mortal Mark. They had to... Oh god, there's a whole crazy thing going on. They dropped through dimensions, a portal for different dimensions to save her mind, and then his best friend became, oh my god, Exodus, they fought Apocalypse. All this happened in one issue.
It's an awesome goatee.
yeah, he's rocking it. Love the Pharaoh goatee. And then, Cersei jumped back, him and Cersei jumped back through time to seek their own time, and then she was ripped from him, and their bond was shattered, and he was thrust into his own era. The Avengers are all dead, and that explains why he's so grumpy, I guess, at the start of this run. And yeah, that was our recap. And Jane Foster looks really creepy when she announces name. I don't know if I'm the only one who
Very
thinks that.
creepy.
Yeah.
I'm Gene
The big
Foster.
hair.
I'm just a nurse, and I'll kill you later in the shower.
Yeah. It's, bloodsucker. And we're getting a lot of pop quizzes this issue. So pop quiz, why does that name sound familiar? I'm like, well, duh, that's Jane Foster. I know who she is, but I wouldn't know that if the MCU wasn't a thing. So, so White Tiger's trashing droids. Yeah, look.
And they're weird looking.
She's been annoying me this whole time because she's been so mysterious and acting like a butt. And then, so Danny is like, distracts her, and he's like, whoops, sorry. He aborts the danger room sequence because it's essentially the danger room. She's fighting a bunch of robots that can hurt you. And Danny's like, I think it's cool that you can turn into a tiger. But, like, his face is straight, and I love that. He's looking, like, very monkish in the dark. His brand is a little bit different than usual. But at least it's there. So... yeah, so she's not...
That's a horrible thing they did to that chest brand.
I don't mind it. Honestly, I think he's drawn... For me, I think he's drawn well in those two panels, but...
Oh, he's drawn well. It's the brand.
Right.
The wings aren't even centered.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. It doesn't make sense that they're off center like that. Just from, dragon anatomy, which I'm an expert in, obviously. So
it's an abstract impression of the brand.
Yeah, minimalist.
Yeah,
I appreciate the brave choice. So it turns out White Tiger's not a woman who turns into a tiger. She's a tiger who turns into a woman. I'm like, okay, I'm on board now. That's awesome.
I wish you kept that look.
Yeah.
The crazy elf thing going there. It's cool.
Yeah, hairy elf.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. The fact that she's literally a tiger explains a lot in how she talks and acts. So now I'm interested in this character. I guess Karl constantly goes on about how he's disappointed where that goes, so I guess I'll see what happens. But, yeah. Now, big clue, pop quiz. No prize to whoever adds up the clues and adds up the clues correctly first and tells us White Tiger's origin. So I failed this pop quiz because I don't know. I know about normal White Tiger, how it's, the comes from the Sons of the Tiger, and they're using the whole amulet or whatever, but...
the face and paws of the jade statue that will open a portal to Kunlun.
Yeah. And it's going to look really gnarly when it happens as well. So,
maybe Swordmaster's sword is actually the tail.
It all comes back to Swordmaster, doesn't it? You just can't let me forget. Yeah, maybe.
I'm just here for the jabs.
The what?
Jabbing you.
Yeah, it's pretty easy, to be fair. You just have to mention Danny Rand's not Iron Fist. I was shocked when Rebecca said that last episode. But she's like, I was talking about, hey, current Iron Fist. Would current Iron Fist be able to do this? And she's like, he's not current Iron Fist. And I was just, it's wrong. It's so wrong. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jim Hammond's talking to a vending machine. I don't know what's happening here either. If I was really clued in, and reading at this time and clued into all the characters, I'd probably be able to figure a lot of this out. But I don't know why he's talking to a vending machine and who the vending machine is. But consider me interested, because it's a pretty sus conversation. Not as betrayal sus, but just he's hiding it from Luke. The vending machine's like, hey, I feel like I'm in over my head. I don't want to do any more missions. And then Jim Hammond's like, hey, you're my ace in the hole. One of these days this team's really going to need you. And Luke comes in, who are you talking to, Hammond?
Can we just mention the t-shirt?
Luke's t-shirt?
Yes.
No.
Jim?
The Totoro t-shirt. I love that.
What's
awesome.
What's that a T-shirt of?
Oh my God, Connor.
Oh yeah, I knew this was coming. I knew
We
as
just
soon as I
lost
asked.
half our listeners because of that. All 12 of them have left.
Yeah, right. What is it? Tell me.
It's Totoro. My neighbor Totoro.
Oh, yeah, I just looked it up. The Miyazaki thing.
Yes.
How did you guys get Totoro from that?
Because
The ears are very distinctive. It's a very distinctive shape if you've seen it before.
Right. Okay. I haven't. I mean, I've watched.
I mean,
some
that's
of this
fair.
stuff, but I was surprised Karl's seen it. To be fair.
I've seen that stuff in the theater.
Really? You don't strike me as the type.
Well, you don't strike me as an Australian.
Yeah. Well, you don't strike me as a person. So.
Well, you're right. I'm a tiger who turns into a person.
Okay, so Luke gets a can from the vending machine, and Jim Hammond's like, "Oh, I'm talking to myself. It helps me clarify my thoughts when I say them out loud," which is like so dumb, like a worse excuse. And then, so Luke's walking off, and the vending machine's like, "He heard us." No, he didn't. And Luke is still hearing them at this point. Like, and they suspect. No, they don't. No more. Just one more mission. Trust me. And then Luke's like, he's talking to himself. It's like, no, he's obviously not talking to himself, man. Like, but Luke says all sorts of shady stuff going on. So I'm into this. I'm into this stuff. All this sort of intrigue. So Luke is actually reporting to, Captain Evil. Which surprised me because I thought they could have had it as like, I don't know. I guess we'll see where it goes. I have the feeling that Luke isn't fully loyal to him, but maybe he is. I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. And he's just the master of evil, whatever his name is. He's like, he wants to know about the Celestials or their offspring, because for his plan for the planet, he needs to take them into consideration, and he doesn't know much about them despite his long lifespan. So, and he also gives Luke a spiel, like, Luke's like, hey, are you going to discard me like the UFOs? And he's like, no, man, we're allies, and I hope friends. Friends with, like, super evil looking person. I don't know, it's like this guy's design is like, can you just draw someone evil? And then they came up with the master controller, or whatever his name is. I'm gonna get his name wrong every time I say it. So
Is it like Master of the World or Master of the Universe is his full title?
I mean, Master of the World's what he calls himself. But yeah. And then Iron Fist is like, you talking with someone? And Luke's like, myself helps me clarify my thoughts when I say them aloud.
Right, he just repeats what Jim told him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's very funny.
Which was amusing. So Danny's like, I need to talk to you, Luke, about our feelings. No, he says, I need to talk to you about the real reason I started Here Is for Hire. And then, beep beep, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, White Tiger, report to the infirmary immediately. So Cersei's woken up.
The patient is awake.
Yeah. And she has clothes on now. And yeah, so she gives a big exposition dump as she's suiting up. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens here. So she gets wrenched from like wherever they were between dimensions, and she lands in Lemuria, the home place of the Deviants, which are, from my understanding, are pretty much like the evil Eternals, the evil versions of them, or the jerk versions. And, I like this statue. I think it's pretty gnarly and creepy. It's like a statue of their high priest. I don't
Giving
know how to
oral.
pronounce that. Oh my god, I don't like the statue anymore. Thanks, Karl. For God's sake. You know what? For that, Karl, you can summarize the rest of this.
No, you started it. You finished it with your love for the singing angel doll.
Well, okay, so she gets
They have
transported
those
to
robots in Japanese buildings for stressed
Lemuria,
businessmen.
and
Link in the description.
no, so yeah, the statue's weeding her out, and they all worship this statue, and it turns out because the spirit of said high priest is actually in that statue, and the statue can move and stuff like that. And then Athena is there. Athena is the not Athena of Marvel, despite the fact that Athena exists in Marvel, so whatever. The thing is, Jack Kirby created the Eternals, I believe, and they were in their own universe. But then they got brought into the main Marvel universe, so... yeah. Although Athena never really says much in these issues. But they think this High Priest was dead, but he's not, and basically he's got Athena working for him because he has her children. So, and through that they need Cersei to work for them because they want to fight the Celestials next time they come to Earth. And, you know, because they're always bad news. They're always bad news for deviants.
Apparently a lot of went down in Fantastic Four Annual number 22.
A lot went down in a lot of issues. Yeah, like Fantastic Four 22, Black Knight Exodus, and then Avengers 375. It's coming from all these plot threads. Were they all written by John Ostrander, maybe? You know? Yeah, so they're starting to put a control disc on... Oh yeah, we see Athena's captive family, then they're putting a control disc on Cersei, and then... Bang! Crow's commandos have appeared. And they help... And they free Cersei. They get the control disc off her. And she escapes while they're all fighting. But it doesn't look good for them. And then she teleports out to Dane. I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm struggling.
Yeah.
It's like a lot to summarize. It's just so much information from this stuff that's like completely unrelated to what we've been reading about.
Yeah, I had a hard time getting invested at this point.
Yeah, this is a hot mess.
Because it's just the past issue this started getting set up. There was no seeds for this early on, aside from Black Knight being there. So she's like, "Hey, look, we need help." And Iron Fist is like, "Jim, we have to do this, pay them or not." And, you know, Jim's like, "It's a sliding scale, we can always waive it." And then she turns Pillow into gold. She's like, "Will this suffice?" And Daddy goes, "Sure, why not? What's the quickest way to Lemuria?" So, the CEO of Oracle Inc. is an Atlantean. And so obviously they're able to use their connections to get a subterranean, not a subterranean, a submarine. And who is this guy?
A lackey for Namor.
Right. I thought he was someone specific, but maybe not. So Black Knight and Strider, his Pegasus, can get there on his own, and the rest go on the ship. And they're all underwater. And they go to Lemuria. Some cool... I like that panel of the underwater ruins.
I really like... Before we get to that, I really like the little moment with Dane. I'm riding a flying horse underwater. I'm not drowning.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And I like the whole ongoing theme with Dane of him not quite believing anything that's happening is real.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting. I haven't read a ton of Black Knight, so I don't know if that's the recurring thing with him, but I find that really compelling in this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. The whole thing's pretty bizarre. And again,
I think you're going to get this pop quiz, Connor.
What's the pop quiz? Which one?
The one below statue's face there.
I'll have a look.
For a quick 10 points, name the comic book legend who created Lemore and the Deviants.
Oh, it's Jack Kirby, of course. And then they get there, Cersei's like, alright, we'll teleport everyone inside. And she also teleports Black Knight and his horsey, Strider. And then Big Statue Man's like, I'm glad you came back. Did you think you could sneak past Thea's mental web, or such as these would avail you against me? And he's got all these deviants, and he also has all the people that came to rescue Cersei now under his control.
The best part about this panel is it's very Kirby-inspired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I like that. I don't know who that red dude with the big head is, but I like him. So Strider away, they all charge in. And Dany's like, it would appear that Cersei's former allies are now being controlled, Luke. We're going to have to battle our way clear to get Athena and her kids out, then regroup and take the High Priest. And Luke goes, Dany, as a rule, I admire your boundless optimism and belief in our abilities, but the stern fact of the matter is, we're about to get killed. And then it shows them getting swarmed by all these deviants. Pop quiz, 100 points. Can anyone see a way out of this? Because we're not sure we do. Right quick, we just got 30 days to figure it all out, or we're going to face the anti-mind. Maybe our special guest hero will help. So, I haven't even looked at the cover for 6, so I don't know who the guest hero is. I will look, though. But, yeah, and that's the end of the issue. And, boy, I didn't struggle to read through it, but I struggled to cover it because it was so messy. Like a lot of the issue was just this exposition. My favourite parts of the issue were just in base where everyone's kind of hanging around doing their own sneaky stuff. Because that's
talking to soda machines.
Yeah, exactly. Talking to soda machines, talking to tiger ladies, and all this sort of stuff. That's kind of why I'm here, is for the team and their dynamic.
And absolutely.
Yeah, and I just feel like maybe John Ostrander was writing the stuff all these guys were previously in, which is why we're getting this stuff thrown at us so heavily. And it's not awful. It's just jarring. It's just very sudden.
Yeah, it's always a little bit of a pain when you're expected to bring some background knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you don't have to because they summarize it, but even with the summary, there's still a sense of, well, you should be invested in these characters.
Yeah.
Or it's more interesting if you already are invested in the characters.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe this is like, ambrosia to some people. This is like the best thing ever. Because they're all into this stuff, and that's great. I'm not huge into Eternals from what I've seen so far. Not like the movie, just the comic I'm talking about. Especially when...
Technically, not to ruin anything, but the guest hero is the soda machine.
Oh, is it?
Literally.
Sweet.
Not joking.
No, that's good. It means I'll get to find out who they are. Be great if it turned out to be like Captain America or something.
Plastic Man.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Alright, well, what do you guys think of issue 5?
It sucks compared to issue 6.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, set up.
Good, because I don't want...
I'm not kidding either. Like, it all goes down in 6, and it's a really good issue.
Alright, sweet.
And the art gets better.
Oh, Emma, I'm really sorry that you came on just before 6.
That's completely okay. It's all, I'm happy to read any part of the series.
Yeah. So any final thoughts on that issue?
Well, since Emma likes to come in for crappy issues, we can bring her back for Breathless.
Hey.
Oh, man.
The 6-issue mini.
I am happy to talk about Breathless.
Hey, look. Am I the only guy on the planet who likes Breathless?
Yes.
I think I would have liked Breathless more if the art weren't so distractingly awful.
If it was 2 issues.
Right, yeah, because they did some interesting stuff in it, and I just couldn't focus on it because the art was just in your face being that art style. I should it's been a while since I read it. I should reread that, actually.
Right, well,
So if you need someone to come on and talk about it.
yeah, look, if people want to sit out for what they perceive to be bad issues, then why not? You know,
we would literally need to cover that whole mini in one episode because there's no way people would come back for more.
That's it. I'm doing like 2 episodes for 1 issue. Breathless, it's happening. I'm gonna make everyone sit through it.
Go through every panel and painstakingly detailed.
To be fair, I read this probably more than 10 years ago. So maybe I'll read it now and I'll think it sucks. But I have fond memories of it. So it has a cool cover.
The concept isn't horrible. It's just it just got dragged out. Did not need to be that many issues.
I don't. The art's very simple, but I don't think it's bad. This is different.
I'm not. It's an interesting art style. I like that art style, but that art specifically, it just is kind of, to me, it seemed kind of clumsily done.
Right. Well,
I can't remember. Was that done by Udon? Or someone who worked for them?
There's Udon and Kevin Lau. I'm not sure if Kevin Lau did the art, but Udon is on the cover. So, anyway, Breathless will be happening at some point, especially now that I know people are cranky about it. So, hey, look, I wouldn't take this art over Heart of the Dragon. I'd definitely take this series over Heart of the Dragon.
Well, yeah.
Which I know is it's the lowest bar that exists. So, in anything, ever. It's just the bottom. But, yeah. Anyway, okay, so, that issue aside, before we finish, I've got to say, I do want to thank our patrons. We have Ray, of course, our new patron, Russell, thank you very much, and Derek, also, thanks to you too. I hope you guys are enjoying the podcast.
Thank you.
Go on.
Thank you, Emma, for joining us.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much,
Thank
Emma.
you for having me.
Yep, can't wait to have you on again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Emma, plug your stuff.
All right. So I have, I'm mostly active on Tumblr. I have a Twitter, but I don't do much there. I have an Iron Fist blog called bookoftheironfist.tumblr.com. And I also have a Daredevil blog called daresplaining.tumblr.com. So you can find me there.
Yeah. For Iron Fist fans, Emma is famous or notorious for being a huge fan of Mike Murdoch. And I'm not having a dig at you. I think your interpretations of Mike are really cool. I don't line up with them myself, but I think it's a really cool idea. So, make me look at it differently. Is that
Daredevil's twin brother?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, his quote-unquote twin brother that he just made up.
Right.
Yeah.
Does he have a mustache?
No.
What? Gotta have a mustache.
No, he wears
I feel
wacky
like he
clothes.
should. You're right. I agree.
Yeah, how would he not think of a mustache? Maybe because mustaches were evil back then.
Now, here's my next question. Can he see?
Yes, he can see.
Yeah, but he wears glasses all the time.
That's fine.
Didn't he once come up with, he was thinking about making Mike blind as well? He's like, oh, Mike got blinded the other day, or something.
Well, no, that actually happened.
Oh.
No, what happened was that Matt lost his hypersenses.
Yeah.
And so couldn't pretend to be sighted anymore. So he just had to say, oh, well, Mike is blind now, too.
Because it runs in the family. Even though the way he was blinded was from an accident involving a radioactive truck. No, it runs in the family. And Foggy... I remember that now. That's... Oh, God. But yeah, check out our Tumblrs. And, Iron Fist is wearing a cowboy hat. I remember that panel. And yeah, so until next time, everyone, may your may your control disc become onto a thing of iron. That's the most interesting thing I could think of. I'm sorry.
May your soda machine talk to you.
Yeah, peace.
Peace.
Iron Fist and all other characters in these comics are properties of Marvel and Disney. Any music or images we use belong to their respective copyright holders. We do this for fun, so please don't sue us. You can contact us at sonsofthedragonpodcast@gmail.com. Just send us mail, comments, thoughts, anything you want really. It doesn't even have to be related to Iron Fist. If you don't want it read on the air though, make sure you mention that. You can also find us on Facebook, the Immortal Iron Fist Podcast, Sons of the Dragon. Our Twitter, @Iron Fist Podcast. Our SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Sons of the Dragon, hyphens where the spaces are. Our YouTube, Karl. Just search Iron Fist Podcast and you'll find us real quick. We are also on iTunes. If you find us there, give us a review and rate us. If it's less than 5 stars, please say why so we can improve the show. And we're on Podcast Garden in the literature section. And last but not least, head over to our WordPress, Sons of the Dragon, the Immortal Iron Fist Podcast.wordpress.com. That's where I put all the show notes. I'd like to thank Thomas Tissot for composing the Iron Fist theme song we use at the start of our Iron Fist episodes on the podcast. I'd also like to thank Peter John Sikosky for composing the Power Man and Iron Fist theme we use at the start of our Power Man and Iron Fist episodes. And finally, thanks to you guys for listening.